last year, the amount of referring traffic from Facebook newsfeed for certain media and entertainment sites, were the largest ones, surpassed that of Google search. Now think about that. The way people are discovering information today is changing. Instead of going to search, increasingly, people are relying on their friends. As the amount of data, the amount of information, the amount of products increases, people are kind of pulling back and saying, I want to go through trusted sources. And in general, if you look at the evolution of communication, it's fascinating to see how Facebook messages and LinkedIn messages and tweets are changing that. It's kind of like when we went from in-person meetings to phone calls, and then phone calls to email, and now email to social network interactions, or text messages. Each time, the cost of staying in touch went down, and so we stayed in touch with more people. Because you can call far more people in a given day than you could visit in person, and you can email far more people than you could visit or call. And now certainly you can expand a larger network on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, where there's all of this ambient intimacy and a way to broadcast instead of specifically selecting people than you ever have before. And again, there's implications for us both personally and professionally. Personally, what we're seeing is that our social networks are growing. People that we never had the capacity to keep in touch with before, maybe someone that we used to live with, or someone who we used to go to college with, or used to work with, now we have the capacity to keep in touch. And that in general, although it can be a little bit annoying to have someone from grade school friend you on Facebook, that in general, research is showing us that people's social capital is maximizing, is increasing as a result of this. Because when you're in need, in times of need, you have a bigger pool of people to draw on for help. When you're looking for a job, when you're looking to hire, when you're looking for whatever personal or professional task that may be. For companies, what's happening is that the top of their marketing funnels are expanding. Again, if we historically look back in the day when you had to go door to door selling vacuum cleaners, there were only so many households that you could hit, and a lot of people might not have been home. That's why telecenters in the 80s were such a profound revolution. And again, when we went from call centers to email marketing, companies expanded their prospect list once again. Now that's happening again through social media. Companies are able to tap into this rich social graph and be able to reach new audiences that they never could before through the customers they already have in their networks. Okay, so now let's talk about this convergence of social and local. I mean, more than ever, content is king. It's never been more important to have content. And you know, what is content? It could be, if you're a nail salon, educating your client base on the new kinds of manicures that are out there, or general hand and skincare. It could be deals, it could be promotions, it could be any number of things, depending on the kind of business that you are. But the key point here is that there is content, and that there's that is what drives ongoing business value and continual engagement with your customers. Give them something to talk about, give them something to share, give them something that not only has inherent value to the customer, but is so valuable that they have an incentive to want to share it with their friends. That they get social capital from being able to share it onwards after they consume it themselves. That's the key of social media content. The challenge of social media content is that in an age when we're getting hyper-local, and it really is about moving toward a more personalized and social web, that the one-size-fits-all message doesn't work. And there's a challenge, there's an onus on us as business owners to really aggressively segment our messages. And instead of creating one set of content now, we have to create 2 or 3 or even 5 or 10 sets of messaging, depending on how diverse our customer base is. Consumers are expecting more highly targeted, relevant content to them. And so, because our consumer base might be diverse, that means we have to invest in creating more content. Highly targeted. This speaks to my earlier point. I mean, being able to use all of that rich profile data now, and being able to say, well, I only want to show these golf club ads to people who say they like to golf. Even if I want to run a brand campaign to reach everybody, I want to pay more, I want to bid more CPC or CPM for people who like to golf, because I know they're more likely to convert. And I'll pay less for everyone else because it's presumed that it'll be a lower conversion rate for me. And that's the way that smart companies are thinking about how to use social. And if you think about the future, I mean, there was I think one of the last questions that John asked was, would Facebook and Google ever merge? I mean, I think that's the holy grail, is being able to combine the power of search and the here and now and the demand that's currently expressed with all of this rich social and profile data. And so where does that bring us? Where it brings us is this convergence of social and local. It's being able to combine the offline and online worlds in a way that was never before possible. I mean, before geolocation, even just a few years ago, we lived largely separate lives. We lived an online life where we would sign up, we'd use email, and we would click on online ads, we would buy things from Amazon. And then we lived our brick and mortar life where we would go to Starbucks, or we would go to any brick and mortar store and live there. And today those worlds are collapsing. And for bricks and mortar in particular, there's a tremendous opportunity to be able to combine not only the data from online and offline, but also the customer experience. Just like Frank Arderell was talking about at 24-Hour Fitness, taking all of those consumer touch points, whether it's social, online, mobile, or actually physically in store, and making that seamless and consistent. And so what I'll leave you with is that, again, it's an exciting time, and with search, we answered a very important question of what is the consumer looking for right now? And of course, a multi-billion-dollar industry was created from that. With social and with mobile, though, we answer not only what is someone looking for, but who that person is, based on their profile and their friends, where that person is, based on their geolocation information, and how that person is accessing. Is it an iPad, an iPhone, or a desktop? Is it a PC or a Mac? And the holy grail of advertising and really of consumer engagement is being able to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time. And for us, being able to expand from answering just what to now answering who, what, when, where, and how gives us more power and more targeting capability so that in the end, our relevance goes to 100% and potentially conversions could get there too. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.